So we grew up in a wooden house. That's my story. I know my parents have their own side of the story, my brothers and sisters have their own side, but we grew up in a wooden house. And I was 11 years old? I think I was about 11 years old, class 5, when we moved from a beautiful neighborhood in Hurlingham. We used to stay somewhere near State House Road. We moved because my parents got kicked out of the house. They couldn't make rent, and it was a very bad argument that they had with the landlady, and she said, you know what, your kids can live on the streets for all I care. And my parents said, we are never going to rent a house again as long as we have somewhere that we can put a roof over their heads. And so they moved out. At that time we had 1 month, and they decided, okay, what do we need for us to get a house? We need land, we need a home. Now, which of these do we have? Do we have the money for a house? No. Do we have land? Yes. So they had land somewhere in Kitengela, like 30 kilometers out, 33 kilometers out from Nairobi. So they made a decision and said, that's where we're going to live. We moved to Kitengela. I remember I was in class 5, and the entire house was made of wood. There were no walls inside. You can imagine moving from Hurlingham, where you have got upstairs with hot water and, all the neighbors and the beautiful neighborhood, and moving to a place where it's a wooden house. The windows were made of wood. The toilet is outside. We had a pit latrine outside, like some 20 meters from the main house. No security, no neighbors, no roads near us, no nothing. And that was home. But the important thing is this. When we were there, I remember Mom and Dad told us it's just going to be 2 years. A year, 2 years max. It's temporary. We're moving from here. So don't worry. This is temporary. Well, 2 years became 16 years. We lived in that house for 16 years. Of course, the house improved. We changed from the wooden windows, got glass windows, and they built toilets inside, partitioned, and it's beautiful right now. They made up the compound and everything, and over the years as it evolved, we came to love it, we came to enjoy it, and we came to appreciate it. But most importantly, I want to fast forward to 2014, 2015, when we decided that we want to start a business. And we had to move from where we were staying in Embakasi, my wife and I, and we had to move 60 kilometers out into Isinya to start a business. That was hard. But you see, there's a foundation that was set. There's something that was familiar in it for me. Because by the time we were moving, my son was about 6 years old, 7 years old. My eldest son. And I was afraid, but I wasn't really afraid. There was something familiar about it, because I had been there before. And the questions are the same. The principle was the same. My parents asked themselves, okay, so what do we need to have a house? What do we need to live in our own place and not pay rent? We need land. We need to be able to build a house. And the principle was, which one do we have? We've got land. Okay, good. We are moving. But we don't have money to build a house. No, we can build a wooden house. We are moving. But it doesn't have toilets. No, it's fine. We are still moving. We can put up a pit latrine. But what will people say? What will people say about the great Machoka living in this place? No, it's fine. They can say what they're saying. We are moving. The principle was, what do I have? And from my past, I was able to apply the same principle and say, this is what we've got. And we are going to start the business. Do we have the money? No, but we've got space, we've got land, we'll start the business. Do we have a beautiful business idea? No, but we'll start the business. Do we know how to do it? No, we'll start the business. We have the skill set. My question to you is, where are you camping right now? Where are you making a stopover? which spot is this that you have decided is an interim to your destiny? Because we are always telling you to be careful about your vision. We are always telling you to be careful about your destiny. But nobody is telling you to be careful about where you camp. Because sometimes the places where you camp temporarily end up being permanent. Temporary camps many times end up being permanent homes. You have to make sure that the place where you're camping is familiar and is keen to where you are going. Some of us, we camp in places that are so diametrically opposite to the destination that we are going to. You have a relationship that is not related to the place where you're going. And we tell ourselves stuff, we say, it's just a small relationship. She's just a girlfriend. It's just a boyfriend. It's just a campus fling. And you start off something that moves you in the opposite direction. You say, it's just a small hustle, there's nothing big about this. It's not a big deal. It's just a small hustle, It's not my eventual career. It's just a small job. It's just a small course that I want to do. It's just a small business. It's just a small friendship that I have. When I grow up, I'm going to have different friendships. It's just a small habit. I'm just drinking socially. I'm just smoking for fun. I'm just smoking pot because guys are smoking pot. There's no big deal. Let me tell you something. That habit of drinking turns into a key character of a drunkard. That hustle that you have turns into a key career. That boyfriend turns into a key husband. That campsite that you're building somewhere turns into a key home. That thing that you feel is a temporary stopover has a potential to become permanent in your life. And the question you need to ask yourself is this: what if it was permanent? Everywhere that you stop, you must ask yourself, what if this was permanent? If you're going to have a relationship with somebody, let her at least look kin to your wife. Let her look like the kind of person that you're likely to marry. Let him look like the kind of person that you're likely to end up spending the rest of your life with. Because let me tell you, one date turns into one movie night, turns into a sleepover, turns into a relationship, turns into a marriage, turns into parenthood. Every small thing that you're doing as a stopover, it may eventually lead to something big. And for some of us, you're building a stopover that by the time you make up your decision to follow your destiny, you'll start moving in the opposite direction fast. Some of the things that you're putting up in your life are things that you're going to have to undo when you eventually decide to get serious with your life. And what I'm challenging you is this. For many of us, we may not be in a place where your parents had the right stopover. And some of us, our parents stopped over in a place where you're the only one who can be able to take that family to the next level. Let me talk to parents for a second. Not everybody gets to their destiny. All right? It's not all the time that we get to our destination in our lifetimes. There are some things that your next generation will be the ones to step into your destiny. They'll step into that dream that you had. And so you must be careful to camp in a place where the next generation can pick up from where you left off instead of having to undo what you did. When you hurt your next generation by putting poor financial institutions, your kids are going to have to undo that. When you start off by, and I'm not just talking financially, when you start off by injuring your kids emotionally, they're going to have to undo the emotional damage that you did for them to begin from zero. So your kids are going to start from -2, -3, -4. Your self-esteem impacts your son's self-esteem. Walk with your head held high because your son is watching you. I'm talking to somebody today who feels like they have got nothing to give to their next generation. And I'm telling you, just confidence is enough to bequeath your son with. Just dreaming, the ability to dream is enough to hand over to your daughter. Teach her that she can dream. Teach your children that they mean something. Teach your children that they can believe in a brighter future. Some of us beat down our children so much that they can't believe in a brighter future. I challenge you, build your child up emotionally. That is your stopover. By the time they grow up, they are not looking for confidence, they are looking for an opportunity. There are some people that get into a place of opportunity, but they don't even have the confidence to take advantage of it. Parents, make sure that where you camp is not a place that your kids will have to undo and move in the opposite direction for them to have progress. And for us kids, let us learn. Don't set yourself up with stuff that you're going to have to spend years undoing for you to step into your destiny. Don't camp at a place where you have a habit that you're going to have to undo by the time you get serious with your life. Don't do that. Be careful where you camp. Be careful where you camp. You never know. Temporary structures become permanent homes. Be careful where you camp.